house. Woohoo! That's right. Alvin, have you seen a movie called Hatchet in 2006? These two really enjoyed it. Me? Eh. Hey, April's in the house. Jen, Rick,
Hi, April.
what's going on with you guys?
What's going on?
We're going to do a podcast here, if anybody gives a shit. We're going to extol to you people the virtues of Hatchet. Starting right now. Microphones on, yes? So make
It's
sure.
on.
Let's everybody make sure the microphones are on. Connor's in the house. What's up, Connor?
Hey, Connor.
And that's right, inmates. We're talking about Hatchet from 2006. This one's written and directed by Adam Green, stars Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, and Robert Englund. Now, I know what you're thinking right off the bat, kids. You're thinking, Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, Robert Englund, how could we possibly go wrong?
A young Kane.
I will explain. We can go definitely wrong with those three. And let's be honest, kids. Just because they're horror royalty, putting them all together like this does not a perfect horror film make. So, we're in the backwoods, or it's Hillbilly Month here in the padded room, in case you guys forgot. We're in the backwoods of Louisiana, like swampland territory. And we're going to start off with a boat, a couple of rednecks. What are they? Hunting alligators, I think? Or something?
Yeah.
They're hunting something.
Yeah, could be frogs, too.
Well, at one point, Robert Englund is in the boat. Did you recognize the guy that was with him?
No.
That was Josh Leonard from the Blair Witch Project. Fucking Josh!
Oh.
Josh, where are you, Josh?
Wow.
Yeah, he put on a few pounds. Not that that's a bad thing. We could fatten him up a little bit, I feel like. Hey, I'm new and I love Hatchet. Very cool, Brandon.
Awesome.
I love a shits. Okay. I love Hatchet. And Connor loved shits and Hatchet.
Okay.
Everybody loved Hatchet. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get to that. You liked it too all of a sudden? Before you said you didn't like it.
Yeah.
No.
I was
Yeah.
the one that said I
She was the only one that liked it. All right, so anyway, these two are out hunting gators in the swamp. Josh Leonard is playing a kid named Ainsley. He's Robert Englund's son.
Mhm.
He has to take a leak, and he keeps telling his dad to pull over. Why do you need to pull over? Just pee out of the boat. It's in the middle of the night. It's not like anybody's scoping your wiener in the middle of the fucking swamp, in the middle of the night. Number one. Number two, you can't pull the boat is stationary. You know what I'm saying? What do you row it? You gotta. I mean, if you really have like a thing about urinating on dry land, you're gonna have to row it. But regardless, eventually he grows a pair, and he's like, I'm just gonna start peeing, and then. But while he's taking a leak, this sought-after alligator comes by, like a 12-footer or whatever, and see, Connor never actually saw Hatchet.
Oh, you should watch it.
So, good of Redneck in the Swamp Tale. Okay? I like Twin Peaks. I like Twin Peaks too, Ian. So we have that in common.
I like Twin Peaks.
I haven't seen the new one yet. The one on Showtime. I heard good things though. Anyway, back to Hatchet. So he starts taking a leak. Robert Englund is like, "Oh, you gotta be quiet. I think she just came by." So he gets over, and then Ainsley gets off the boat and starts peeing, and then we're gonna get like a 3-minute close up of Ainsley taking a leak. When we cut back to Robert Englund, he's been disemboweled in the boat. Ainsley's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then we get like a lot of splashing around. And this is one of the problems I have with this movie. Okay, I'm not gonna take a big fat shit on Hatchets. I'm just gonna tell you some of the issues that I have here. Number one of the selling points of this movie is that it's all practical effects. Okay, yo, my boyfriend got me a new vibrator, and it's fucking amazing.
Oh.
Okay, that's exciting. Back to Hatchets.
I was reading Richard's comment.
What does he say? You really never know who's watching in the swamp. You don't want to whip it out and suddenly hear a banjo.
No.
Richard, if they want to see it, I'll show it to them. They're going to be disappointed. I'll tell you right now. Anyway, so that's pretty ridiculous. But practical effects is a big selling point of this movie. And to Adam Green's credit, it is practical effects in here. If by practical effects you mean somebody throwing spaghetti sauce at trees, because that's 99% of your practical effects here.
Right?
Oh, come on.
Oh, you come on yourself. I mean, they use that shot of the spaghetti sauce hitting the tree at least 25 times. In this
Oh
movie.
my God,
did.
it
They
wasn't
did.
spaghetti sauce.
Okay, fake blood.
Fake
Look to
blood.
me
Well,
like
yeah.
spaghetti. It's same tree with the same splatter of blood at least 25 times in the movie. Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. There's more gore coming.
Mhm.
All right, so that's our opening sequence. We got 2 dead bodies from the get-go, which is okay. It's pretty cool. And by the way, that's a wrap for Robert Englund in this movie. So
Yep.
if you saw the movie poster and you said, Robert Englund, Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, well, you can scratch one name off. We're about 8 minutes in, and you can scratch one of those names right off the list. Now we're going to cut to New Orleans. Noonish, day or two later, I suppose, or actually about a week later. We have a smattering of douchebags walking around during Mardi Gras. It's supposed to be during Mardi Gras, but it's happening like in the middle of the day.
Mhm.
And I mean, you get to see plenty of boobs, but I mean, these are not.
Does anybody know
Perfect
what Mardi
boobs.
Gras is really supposed to be?
It's a religious thing, isn't it?
Yes, I looked it up
Yeah.
and I realized why. I
What the importance of the nipples? Because
no,
that's something
I
I'm interested in.
realized how stupid that people of New Orleans must think that
Let's whip some dicks out.
Americans are for going over there
Okay.
and turning this into
Okay, first
a
off,
horror event.
New Orleans is in America. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I tried to like not offend anybody.
Okay.
But it was a religious
I liked it, but
thing.
didn't love it. Okay, well, it started as a religious thing.
Yeah,
and then,
I don't know how it turned into the horror fest.
I think college kids took it over.
Yeah,
And
it's
just said,
ridiculous.
let's get hammered and vomit in the street and see some boobs, which
Yeah.
I'm okay with.
I'm offended by it.
I am not. And if anybody wants to show me their boobs or watch me vomit in the street, you can do so on our Patreon page at headandroompodcast.com.
We'll even send out beads.
Absolutely. That's where you can find us. Anyway, so they're there. Now, in this group of douche nozzles, we, of course, have the lonely, brooding douche nozzle, who's played by Joel, what's his name, from Grandma's Boy. And he's got a very emo look, and he's like, oh, this is bullshit, these boobs and drinking. And
that would be me.
How would that be you?
that would
You're
be
always the drunkest of all three of us. We go to a Halloween party every year. Monica lasts about 15 minutes before she's throwing up in the backyard. Me and Buddy carrying her out to her husband's truck.
I'm older now.
Oh yeah. That was 2 years ago. Seriously. So we're gonna catch up to this band of merry fucktards, and we have our brooding guy who's like, I don't want to see any more tits. I'm done drinking. My girlfriend broke up with me. And everybody else is like, no, there's boobies this way. And he's like, I'm going that way. I want to go on a haunted tour. How do these fuckheads keep getting invited? Whenever there's in a horror movie, I do not understand. This is lazy writing at its finest. Whenever there's a horror movie and the group of friends go camping, they always invite one guy that they hate, and then they invite one moody prick. Now, I've been on many a camping trip and house party and all such things. If there's a guy that I hate, I'm not going to invite him. And if there's a broody guy that's dragging everybody else down, hey, why don't you go check the tire pressure on my Jeep? Stay the fuck out there. I'm not going to let you back in. There you have it. I don't understand any of this.
We're like whispering, let's get him.
Let's get him the fuck out of here.
No,
because he's a downer. Or if he doesn't put on a happy face, and fuck him. He's out. I can't even hang with him anymore. All right, anyway, so this dude is like, I'm going to go take a ghost tour. It's going to be cool. And his best friend is like, he's a fucking prick. The boobs and the beer is that way. All right, I'll go, I guess. So they go off to get to this kick-ass ghost swamp tour, haunted swamp tour. Very cool. They go to the first place, and it's like a random door in a wall, and they knock on the door, and out pops Tony Todd. And he's got like clown paint on his face. He's like, I can't do ghost tours anymore because of what happened last year? And they're like, what happened last year? A guy slipped and tried to sue me afterwards. And then he closes the door. And that is the end of Tony Todd in this movie. So once again, if you're looking at the movie poster and you're like, Tony Todd, yeah, scratch that name right off that poster, baby, because that's it. He's done. I think we got him for about 3 minutes. And I'll give him credit, though. He acted his fucking ass off for 3 minutes. He really brought it from downtown on that little disclaimer thing or whatever. So, but right before he closes the door, he's like, no, you got to go like a block that way. Go to Marie Laveau's gift shop. They do ghost tours out of there. You love that shit. So off they go. They go to Marie Laveau's gift shop. And there we meet Joel Murray, Bill Murray's brother, playing a guy by the name of Doug Shapiro, who apparently is a scumbag and is doing like a Girls Gone Wild type of video. All right. Now let's just suspend disbelief here for 2 seconds. Okay, you're making a pornographic film. Well, not hardcore. It's just chicks flashing, really. Now, here you fool that walks by with a set of beads around his neck, and here you are in a voodoo gift shop. What the fuck is going on here, my friends? He's got 2 hussies with him that he apparently has paid for when 1 block over for a set of beads, they'll whip them out. Okay? Again, this is a bit of a writing problem, and I don't mean to pick this movie apart. I'm just telling you things that I noticed as I was watching this movie. Now, he's got 2 hussies.
Well, that's because they looked at him and they were like, that guy's got to pay us if he wants us to go.
And he wants more than just looking.
Why would you pay them when 1 block over, they'll do it for free?
Well, if they saw him, they might say the same thing. Sir,
they're drunk. They're drunk, and you pay them with beads. That's how Mardi Gras works. You say, there you go, sweetie. Let me see them. And then you show them, and then that's how it goes down, apparently. He's done messed up, yo. I agree, Connor. That's a weird situation there. Anyway, not only is he agreed to pay these 2 young ladies, but he's going to take them on the ghost tour. Like, hey, I'm going to treat you right because I'm Big Daddy Shapiro. What was the name of the Swamp Beavers? I think was the name of the production or something like that. Yeah. Beaver Mountain. I don't know, something like that. So he's on the tour. Now we're going to get a little wacky, if we're not already wacky enough for you, because the tour guide is going to pop out, and you guys play Mortal Kombat at all? Because he bears a startling resemblance to Liu Kang, but he's got a suspicious and wildly out of place Cajun accent. So he comes out and he's like, hey, we're going to take this tour now. Come on, y'all. Let's get on the scare bus. He's Asian. He's clearly Asian. But everybody's like, oh, that's interesting. All right, well, get on the bus. So they get on the bus. Now, on the bus, we have 8 people. Well, 9 if you count the tour guide. We have a older tourist couple, overweight, probably senior citizens. We have our 2 hussies and Joel Murray. We have the kid from Grandma's Boy and his best friend, and then we have one mysterious, brooding young lady in the back.
Which would be me.
Would be you, probably.
You 2 are the 2 guys, and I'm the girl.
Yeah. Buddy's going to hit on you, and I'm going to try to get on one of Joel Murray's hussies. That's my plan. That's how I'm going to roll. Anyway, so they take off. Joel, of course, tries to hit on the brooding young lady, and she's like, I'm Mary Beth. I'm going to get my $30 out of this. Don't fucking talk to me. He's like, oh, okay. Now, again, here's another problem, because a minute ago, he was in the throng of a bunch of drunk, horny chicks that he could have hooked up with. Instead, I don't want to be around horny chicks. I want to be around one. I'll say she was a 7. She was pretty hot. I want to be around one pissed off 7, and that's where I'm gonna lay my game down.
Maybe she reminds him of this.
Probably. All right, so that's a bit of a writing faux pas, but again, I'm willing to write all this off. So away we go on the bus. Apparently, this haunted swamp is like 8 hours away because they don't get there till midnight, and they left at like 2 in the afternoon. What's up there, Damon Baird? Anyway, so that's pretty cool. They get there, they get to the boat, and then they get on the boat, and this tour guide is running them through all the, hey, over there's where the haunted swamp would be, and we're going to, again, this is an Asian guy, and it's kind of weird to look at the swamp lights, ooh. So he's taking him down this this haunted swamp or whatever, and we get to see those swamp lights. Very cool. It takes him to an abandoned house. He's like, "That's where old Mr. Crowley was, and he used to call him Hatchet Face because he was in there and he got hit with a hatchet in the face. And if you listen real close, you can hear him talking in the swamp and stuff." And it's like, oh, okay, all right. So they keep going. Eventually, our young Asian tour guide runs the boat into a rock, punches a big hole in the hull, if they have holes on tour boats, and then the thing starts taking on water. Now, that part's pretty scary, but what's even scarier, and this is what I would be afraid of, fucking alligators. There's all over the goddamn boat. Alligators, those fucking, what are the swamp snakes? What are those, moccasins or something like that?
Oh, water moccasins.
I
think those are in the Sacramento River. You don't have to.
I don't know.
I don't know if they're down there.
Dude,
leeches.
Leeches. There's fucking leeches over there, man. I don't want any part of the swamp. All right, yeah. If you're gonna take me on a tour, it's fine. I'm gonna stay on the fucking boat. Don't wreck the boat. All right. But
Hey, Summer.
he wrecked the boat. Hey, Summer's in the house. What's up, Summer?
Hi, Summer.
Wrecks the boat. He's like, come on, let me help me push off. And then he like starts yelling in Mandarin Chinese. He's like, oh fuck, okay, so he's clearly not the tour guide, or even, well, he is the tour guide, but he took the job to pay the bills. He didn't know anything about this swamp or anybody in it. So
Hi, Gail.
Gail's in the house.
Hey,
Gail doesn't like water moccasins either, as she shouldn't.
Right.
That's probably why Gail hasn't been to a swamp recently. Anyway, so they're trying to get the boat pushed off. Now it's like pouring rain all of a sudden. The old fat guy's like, look, we'll just climb across this tree here and we'll get on the banks of the river or the swamp or whatever the fuck, and we'll be dry over there.
Yeah,
So,
great idea.
yeah, well, he was actually pretty, agile for a second. He's like hopping over the thing, and he climbs up a tree. He's like, look, it's easy. Just come over here. It's a little slippery, but no big deal. And a fucking alligator jumps out of the swamp and bites him on the leg. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? All right. So that's pretty gnarly. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's a fucking alligator. Now, it hit him on the leg, but, that sucks. I'm sure it hurt. He's bleeding, but he's still, doesn't appear to be life-threatening. So they all get off the boat. They're all over there on the banks of the river or whatever it is. They're like, okay, we got to get this guy some help. Now we get our first Victor Crowley sighting. Now, about this guy.
He looked like Big Jim
Who's Big Jim?
from wrestling.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
you mean Hillbilly Jim? I thought he looked
coveralls.
a little bit.
Overalls.
I thought he looked more like an aged out rock star with scoliosis.
I was thinking the movie Goonies.
Oh, Chunk from Goonies? Yeah.
No, not Chunk. The Sloth. Or
Oh,
whatever.
Sloth. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. So
Baby.
now this dude is like creeping through the brush, and he's like, and you only get to see him for a second here and there, but he's got like the long hair. And he's, so they get out of the thing. They drag the fat guy back to like deeper inland, away from the swamp, and it stops raining for a second. So they kind of sit down and they try to put a game plan together. Now, at this point, we're going to get the backstory of what's going on, because when the alligator jumped up and bit the guy, the brooding young lady, Mary Beth, pulled out a gun and shot it. So why the fuck does she have a gun on this haunted boat
What
ride?
does it matter? I was so mad at. Why do you have a gun? Why do you have a gun?
It's a valid question.
Because I carry a gun.
Well, I mean, I think I would want to know.
Women should carry
they
guns.
should carry guns.
Oh my God.
But either way, it's a valid question. So she's like, well, I didn't come here for a haunted ghost ride. And we're going to find out that she's actually the daughter/sister, I don't mean that in an inbred way, of the two guys that got killed at the beginning. And she came on this haunted ghost ride because she knows that this particular ghost tour goes into a closed off section of the swamp. And it's cheaper to pay the $40 to take the tour than to rent herself a boat.
What does that mean, Connor?
But Monica is a perfect 10 and I'm a 1 billion. Okay. The bitey lizard didn't like it. The bitey lizard did not like it at all, Summer. So that's pretty bananas. she's going to go into this backstory about the Victor Crowley mythos. So we get this big flashback starring Kane Hodder of Victor Crowley. He was a deformed kid that was born in this beat up shed in the swamp. He couldn't go to school or be with other kids because he's hideous. So his dad raised him there in the shed. And one Halloween, some kids came by to try to scare him out of the shed by throwing firecrackers into the shed. Firecrackers caught the whole place on fire. Dad pulled up, tried to save his son by smacking down the front door with an axe. And he sort of did, but unfortunately,
hatchet.
The hatchet, that was actually an axe. There's a difference between an axe and a hatchet. All right, you fuckers. But he cut through the door with the axe just as he was trying to come through, and the axe caught him right in the face, and his dad thought that he killed him. So so sad. His dad got all depressed and wouldn't leave the shed for the next 10 years, and that's pretty much the end of that. Now we cut back to present day, where our haunted tour group is now marooned on this swamp situation with this guy running around. Now, the funny thing about this, and again, this is a pet peeve I have when it comes to filmmaking, they're telling the story, and they're like, oh, yeah, okay, so it happened in a shack in a swamp. Where are we? And then the Mary Elizabeth is like, oh, the house is right there. It's been right in front of you the whole fucking time, and nobody thought to mention that there was a fucking house right there. I hate that shit. And then this gets even stupider. And I'm sorry if you guys like this movie. There were parts that I liked, but this is another one. They're standing in the middle of a clearing right in front of the house, see the house with the lightning flash. Oh, there's a big house there. As they're saying that, Victor Crowley somehow sneaks up on him. Like, okay, I'll demonstrate. Me and Monica are having a conversation. Now imagine that a probably about a 6'3" guy managed to crawl in here without me seeing him, and then pop up right here, and then scare the shit out of both of us. I hate that, man.
Yeah, we would hear branches.
We would hear a lot. We would see him first, okay? He's huge, and we're in the middle of a clearing. It's not like he's hiding behind a tree or anything. All right, whatever. I don't care. So he pops out, and everybody's, oh, fuck. The fat couple goes running towards the house. Crowley does like a rock star thing with his axe, and then runs up and chops the fat guy, like bisects him here, and like blood. We get more of the spaghetti sauce hitting the trees, and then the fat lady's like, "Oh my god!" She's trying to run away, but
I couldn't wait till she died.
I was on her team.
Oh god!
He runs up behind her and does like a reverse bear trap on her face, and like, and then the tongue is like, and then more of the spaghetti sauce hitting the trees. It's great. It's good times. So they're out of the equation. Everybody sees this, of course, and goes hauling ass. So this problem number 6 that I have with this movie: all of the stopping. You're trying to get away from this guy. It looks, from the viewer perspective, it looks like they run all of about 18 feet and then stop and regroup. So do you want to get away from this dude or not? If you do, keep fucking running. Stop stopping to talk to everybody. That's dumb, man. That's dumb. That's like 90% of the movie. Run that way, stop, have a conversation about it. He shows up, kills somebody else, run that way, stop, have another conversation about it.
My only problem with this was that you're in the forest, in the woods,
Swamp.
and they didn't have a flashlight.
Well, they got one eventually, but it took them a while.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So he had one the whole time on him. He just chose not to break it out. They find it in Joel Murray's bag after he gets killed.
But it's so dark, you can't see. So I'm like,
well, they did leave in the daylight.
How did these people get around in the forest? Like, they didn't even know where they were running.
You would think they would be smacking into trees and stuff.
Thank you.
Whatever. That's fine. All right. So that happens. The tourist couple is now out of the equation. Everybody goes hauling ass. Again, appears to be about 18 feet before they stop and regroup. They stop. They take a look around. Oh, where is everybody? The best friend and the shady movie producer is missing all of a sudden. So, hey, where are you? The best friend has climbed a tree, and he's now like, I'm not coming out of this tree, you fuckers. No way. The movie producer's completely gone. So they're like, oh shit, what happened? the guy up in the tree can see the city from the swamp. It looked to me like it was like 20 miles away though.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's over there. I think I see some lights and stuff. And then we're going to cut to the movie producer. He's just bobbing and weaving through the forest. Of course, Crowley catches him too and just kind of axes him to death.
Mhm.
So that's okay. I didn't particularly like that guy anyway. Joel Murray has a weird face. Is it just me?
No,
Does he have a
he
weird
was,
face?
yeah.
He's got like a weird mouth thing where like he only uses half of his mouth. Hey, you wait. Whip them boobs out
Maybe
again.
he had Bell's palsy when he was young.
That could be. I don't know. I hope he didn't, because then I'd feel like an asshole for making fun. Really sorry about that. Yeah. Maybe I'll edit that. I'll edit that part out of the podcast. But all of our live viewers, sorry about
That's for
that.
you.
Whoops. All right. Anyway, so he's now dead. Cut back to our survivors. They're trying to make their way to the city, and they happen upon his dead body. Now, this whole time, he had a really shitty camcorder that he was using to record the boobs with. They find that. They find the dead body. They find his camera bag, which, as Monica alluded to, had a flashlight in it the entire time.
Mhm.
Why that never came into play, it's a very convenient plot point, I guess. Am I overthinking this movie? I feel like I should probably should have had a beer or two before I watched it. Okay. I'm the asshole in this equation.
Not really, because when I go to the park at night, I carry a flashlight.
Carry a flashlight
and
with you.
pepper
Well,
spray.
they left in the daylight. I don't think they were expecting the.
They didn't know that it was 12 hours away,
Right?
The swamp.
Well, you
Yeah.
should always have a flashlight in your backpack.
I mean, it would help. And more to the
But
point,
then again, these
Or cell
people
phone,
were
right?
looking to get laid, probably.
more to the point, they had a flashlight in their backpack. They just chose not to use it at all. All right, fine, whatever. I don't care. So now they're like, oh shit. So right about this time, Joel is like,
They are stupid. Yes, Connor.
You're
they were
right.
All stupid.
you're right.
Mhm.
And
Ugh.
I think we just need to accept that and quit expecting this to be like an actual horror film. So from there, they're like, okay, this guy's just going to pick us off one by one. Well, let's go back to that shed. I thought I saw some gas cans in there. Maybe we could put them on fire or something. So he's like, oh, that's dumb. That's a dumb idea. Like, well, you got a better idea? Yeah, actually, how about we just keep moving and get the fuck out of here? Whatever, we're going to do that instead. So they go back to the shed. They find the gas cans. They look like they've been there for at least 100 years. They've got nothing but dirt in them, except for one, which has like 2 teaspoons of gasoline in it. While they're out there, actually on their way back to the shed, they get attacked by him again. Or no, it was at the shed they got attacked because they found like gardening implements that they're going to use as weapons. It was a pitchfork and a shovel. And they're like, and then of course they find the dead bodies of Robert Englund and Josh Leonard. And Mary Beth is like, that's my daddy and my brother. I'm going to get this motherfucker. So now they've got a pitchfork and a shovel, and they're going to teach old, I almost called him Lester, Victor Crowley a thing or two. They're going to show him what's going on.
Yeah.
So while they're, having this conversation about dead Robert Englund and Josh Leonard, Crowley attacks again. They go running out there with their gardening equipment and start, whacking away at him. And he's like, well, that'll about do. He takes hussy number 2 with the hoop earrings, who I thought was the hotter of the 2 hussies.
Yeah, the brunette.
The brunette.
The smart one.
Uh,
Well, she was smarter than the blonde.
I'll give you that. She was definitely smarter than the blonde. They go out there and they're like, come on, you bitch.
Smitten.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Show me curious. Show me you've got a secret. I am a serious actress.
What was that one line I keep forgetting about calling the 911?
What was the number?
Oh.
No, are you sure 911 is the phone number?
Yeah. What if you're in a different area code?
Yeah. Come on. Come on, you motherfuckers. So that's pretty gnarly. A group goes out for a 3-hour tour and they never come back. I've heard this story before. Yeah, it's called Gilligan's Island there, Richard. How much cooler would Gilligan's Island have been if there was a slasher involved?
Oh, yeah.
We would have
Oh,
seen Ginger's boobs. I can tell you that for
The
sure.
professor would have got him, though.
I think the captain would have been the first to go because he was a fat guy. And I don't have anything against fat guys, but let's face it, they can't run very fast. All right, so anyway, he catches up to him, decapitates our Asian Cajun with the shovel. That part was pretty cool. And then I think he makes the brunette like deep throat a chainsaw.
That was horrible.
That was pretty dope
Yeah.
too. Flips her over and impales her on the shovel handle, which I thought was also pretty cool.
She got the worst of it.
Probably. Well, I don't know. I think that bear trap thing was probably the worst of it.
Oh.
But that was pretty gnarly too, because she was alive after getting the chainsaw through the face. And she was trying to crawl away when he did the impalement act. Everybody else takes off. So at this point, we're down to hussy number 2, who was the blonde. The main character, what was his name? He's played by the Joel guy. And then we have his best friend and our brooding revenge seeker, who is still pretty attractive.
Who doesn't know how to shoot a gun?
Okay, here's problem number 14.
Thank you. This part made me mad.
Well, no, the first time they see Crowley, she empties the magazine into him. And you know that she empties it because she takes 2 shots, click, 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 click. Next time they run into him, bang, 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 bang. Now,
I didn't even notice that.
I'm not saying that we have to see her reload, but I would like to at least see her with another magazine before we sign off on this magical gun of hers. Anyway, and this part is even dumber because as they're running away from Crowley this time, again, she's firing off rounds at him, and the other guy grabs her, and she just drops the gun, and they continue running. Well, you don't need that anyway.
Well, she wasn't even aiming at it.
No,
she's going like this. Oh, God, everywhere else.
Clearly, she's not all that interested in hitting this guy.
And he's so big. How
do you miss? How do you miss it? All right. Whatever the fuck. I don't care. I don't even care anymore. Now, they run another 18 feet, and then they come to the entrance to the cemetery that they passed on their way to the swamp. So they're like, hey, we're home free. So they get in there and they start weaving and bobbing through the tombstones. Crowley attacks again. He's smoldering this time because they did actually manage to put him on fire. Problem though, 2 teaspoons of gas only burns for about 38 seconds. And halfway through that 38 seconds, it started raining again.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
Joke's on you, Jack. Moving right along, catches up to him in the graveyard. Actually, before that, he killed the blonde hussy and threw her head at Joel, and then her torso, and then that was when they managed to put him on fire.
Stormtroopers had better aim.
So yeah, from Star Wars, they couldn't hit it. That's like it's like a running joke in the Star Wars communities that stormtroopers couldn't never hit anything. So he catches up to him. Now this part is particularly dumb because they all go running into the gate. The brooding chick hits the gate first and actually bounces off of it, right? Which causes the other 2 guys to trip over her, which creates like a dog pile. And then Crowley just runs and jumps on top of the dog pile and immediately starts vomiting what I can only say looks an awful lot like semen into the main guy's mouth. I'm not saying it is semen, and I'm just saying it's white and it's got the same consistency. I can't think of another substance to compare it to.
Foamy.
It was not cool, is what I would call it. That was definitely rude and unacceptable behavior, if you ask me. Right into the other dude's mouth.
Probably not written in the script either.
Yeah. So they managed to like kick him off. The best friend, however, has to buy the other 2 some time, so he like jumps in front of Crowley. Crowley like bear hugs him and starts cracking his ribs, and then rips both of his arms off. And then picks him up and starts basically giving him the sleeping bag treatment against the tombstones. So he went pretty hard, that last guy. They take off running again through a different hole in the fence, make it back to the swamp. So apparently they've gone in one complete circle this whole night and are now right back pretty much where they started. They find not the tour boat, but the boat that the alligator hunters used, Robert Englund and Josh Leonard at the beginning, hop in that boat and go paddling out into the swamp. And they're like, oh, okay, we got away. We just have to stay on the swamp here and we'll get back to civilization at some point. At this point, it's just the main guy and Mary Beth. So now we get the throwback to the original Friday the 13th. Crowley comes jumping out of the water, pulls Mary Beth in, and we cut to Mary Beth under the water, and she's like thrashing around, like, "Oh, I'm gonna drown!" And then the hand comes down to grab her, so she grabs the hand, pulls her out, and then we see that it's actually Crowley in the boat who's ripped the main guy's arm off and was using that to lure her back in, and then cut to the credits. That's the end of your movie.
Amazing. At that time, there was no alligators in the water. They were all sleeping.
Okay. Let's not completely take a big fat dump on this movie.
I think it was okay.
You already did.
I know. And I'm going to tell you that this would be a good Halloween party movie. This would be a good movie to watch with a 6-pack and some of your buddies hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a serious. I wouldn't even call this a horror movie, really.
Horror comedy.
What?
It's not. I mean, what is scary about it? There is nothing scary
It's
about
a horror
this.
comedy.
It is.
A nasty guy in the woods. That's pretty much out there everywhere
Now,
in the backwoods.
Now there's an original movie. A nasty guy in the woods. We've never seen that before, have we?
Well, go to Virginia, you'll find these kind of people over there.
Go down to the Truckee River at the right time. People beating off left and right. It's nasty. That's a horror movie, my friends. The weird beat-off gang of Truckee River. Ew. It's fine. I'm not mad at it. I remembered being mad at it because I hate it when they do this shit, man. They get like these horror stars, Robert Englund, Tony Todd, and Kane Hodder, and they plaster their name all over the marketing. And then you watch the movie, you pay your $12 or whatever, you get maybe 18 seconds of each guy, and then they're gone. That's it. I hate that shit. I hate it.
Yeah, Hodder probably had the biggest role.
He did. He had 0 lines in the entire movie. Basically, all he did was put the Crowley suit on and run back and forth through the woods, pretty much. It's fine. I'm not mad at this. It's, if you get into the sequels, there's even more horror royalty popping up in there for even less screen time and less lines. Except for Danielle Harris. I think she had a pretty good role in the second one.
I must be thinking of a sequel of where a group of people went during the day and found the cabin.
I think that's the second one. That's
the
one
one
with Danielle Harris.
Okay, that's the one I remember.
I think Tony Todd came back for that one too, didn't he?
I think you're right. Was he the boat guy?
Yeah, I think it picks up with his boat tours, and he's sending another group out. Danielle Harris, she's now the revenge chick. She's like, I'm going to find him and shoot him in the face or whatever.
Why was Revenge Chick 1 her mom?
Probably something like that. I don't know what she's doing. Anyway, that was Hatchet. Let's give this a 5 skull rating. I think I'm going to give it 2. I'm going to give it 1 obligatory skull for boobies and a 2nd obligatory skull for because it's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. If I wasn't watching it for the purposes of this podcast, if I was just watching it by myself with a beer, I'm sure I would enjoy it. But when I do a movie for the show, I kind of have to look at everything, and there's a lot of fucking holes in this, and a lot of humor that I just kind of fell flat for me, and that whole marketing thing drives me nuts. Arnett, that's all I got. What do you think?
3.5.
3.5 skulls, right on.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah?
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay. I mean, what was your favorite part, buddy?
Just the kill scenes in it.
So if they hadn't overused the fucking spaghetti sauce hitting the tree shaft, they played
the Evil Dead.
They played the fuck out of that, and I don't think we need that much spaghetti sauce hitting a tree. Okay, we did it. There's a lot of splat. The worst part. Okay, now I'm going to go off on a tangent because.
Oh my god!
All right,
what is the worst part?
Okay, just hear me out. Okay. No. Well, I mean that was nasty, but when he catches up to the movie producer, okay, he catches up to him. He kills. He like chops him in the back or whatever, so he falls down on his knees, and then he takes his head and spins it completely around. Okay,
right.
I get that part, and there's the flesh ripping here. The blood is coming down. But again, we get that jump cut to spaghetti sauce hitting the trees. His head is spinning around. He wasn't stabbed. There's no splatter. Why do we need that? Why do we need more spaghetti sauce hitting the tree when he just basically is getting his neck stabbed?
It was this blood was shooting out?
No, though, because when you cut to Joel Murray, all the blood is going down.
Because why not?
Because why not? You got 45 minutes of spaghetti sauce hitting a tree. You better use 45 minutes of spaghetti sauce hitting a goddamn tree. Mm-hmm. That spaghetti sauce didn't pay for itself, my dear. Right. So put it in the fucking movie.
Yeah, we still got more. All right, we'll use it on the next one.
All these trees are fucking stained red. We can't. There's no more trees. Oh no, Monica, what was your favorite part, man?
My favorite part was the part where the guy was laying down and he came up with the shovel, and I was like, that is the gruesome way to die.
When he jumped on the shovel?
Yes, because you're like, what do you even do? Like, there's nothing you can do. Your life is it's gone.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he was surprisingly okay with it. Because he just kind of laid there.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Try to get it off your fucking neck, man.
You can't move that guy. He was like 5 foot tall.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna put some effort into it. The Asian kid was like,
I liked this movie.
I know you did, and like I said, I'm not mad at it. It's just not. It's got a lot of holes, and that if you're okay with it, this is a good time movie. It's something to watch with your buddies, and. If you're folding the laundry or something and you don't want to think about anything.
Well, non-horror people would be terrified of this movie.
I don't think they would. It's too fucking silly.
No, I think
it's too silly.
Like, they get scared of everything. They would be like, oh my God.
I would be willing to bet that I could show this one to my wife and there would be like 8.
You can't show it to her because she's used to this kind of
you're right.
stuff.
I can show it to...
if I showed my mom this,
we could show it to your mom.
She would be terrified.
I think she would do a lot of eye rolling. I think it would be like 60% eye rolling, 40% discomfort, and probably some reevaluating of you and what kind of a daughter she raised that would bring this movie into her house. Not that I'm judging you. I'm just saying.
Do you like this kind of thing?
Oh, Monica. No. That's not even funny. Why are they doing that?
Why are you laughing?
Look at these girls. What's happening?
This is
just stupid. Pull their boobs out whenever you want. Is that what they do? And he's going to pay them?
Like, Mom, don't worry about that part. Look at the killer in the woods.
That's so dark.
That's when the eye rolling comes into play. What's wrong with it?
You know what it is? This movie reminds me of the 80s movie, Don't Go in the Woods. Remember that one? They had a deformed guy.
Yeah.
And he kidnapped. But in that one, it was rated R.
Yeah.
And he raped the chicks in the cave.
I remember that.
Yeah, and she ended up having a baby at the end.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is for me.
I get that, except that's like a serious movie. This is just nonsense. It's something to watch while you make spaghetti. Richard, you're exactly right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just put it on.
And drinking and watching this movie.
There's boobs. There's plenty of boobs in there. And the brunette with the hoop earrings, pretty hot. Blonde, not so bad. Just got kind of on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's about it for you guys. Got anything else on Hatchet?
Yeah.
I would say it's worth the watch if you haven't seen it.
It's worth checking out. There's 2 sequels.
Yeah.
If you can tolerate the first one, then you can make it through the other ones. Is what I would say to that.
How many is there?
3 or 4. There's 4 now. Yeah, the 4th one is just called Victor Crowley.
Oh yeah.
I did see that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I gave up. I think I gave up after the second one.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I watched that is because Danielle Harris is in it, and I was hoping she was gonna at least get into a bikini situation, which she did not. There's no bikinis in the swamp, come to find out.
It's not Naked and Afraid.
Well, but they did have swamp beavers, so I thought maybe something. All right, anyway. We're going to take us a little break, inmates. We'll come back with some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Have we decided on a movie for next week?
No.
All right, we need a hillbilly movie. Richard, what's a hillbilly horror movie that we haven't already done? I had one the other day, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I thought you wanted to do that father and son one.
Which father and son one?
You said there was a father and son hillbilly movie in the woods.
I don't recall. Good night, lady and gents. Thanks for the fun one. Thank you for joining us, Richard.
Yeah,
we'll
thanks
see
for
you
joining
next
us.
week
Richard.
with another hillbilly horror movie here in the month of February. I feel like there's like a did we ever do 100 Bloody Acres? I feel like we did.
I think we did because we discussed
I think
it.
we did horror comedy. The Hills Have Eyes, but I don't know if you guys have done that one. We have done that one. And we've done Wrong Turn also, Summer.
Yeah. Here.
There you go. Oh, Jugface. Let's do Jugface.
I never seen that one.
That is bizarro.
That is a weird one.
She's an ugly bitch.
She is even uglier in this one.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
thank you. So I'm gonna have to concentrate on her face.
She gets naked.
Oh.
She does some things with her brother that is unsavory. All right, we're doing Jugface. Join us next week for Jugface. I think you guys will dig that.
With both my father and brother's babies.
Okay, let's not spoil the movie.
I was just reading what it was about.
It's fucking gnarly.
It better have gore in it.
Yeah, there is. There is. Some people get sacrificed and such.
Okay, I need death.
Yes. All right, join us next week for Jugface, the Psycho Bunnies, and Padded Room Inmates. Thank you again for joining us. PaddedRoomPodcast.com is where you can find us. Or this entire live feed will be repeated on YouTube at the Padded Room Podcast there. So you want to watch this again, or you want to see hear the rest of the show, PaddedRoomPodcast.com. You find everything you know there.
At Podbean. A lot of people don't know that I've been talking to.
No, we don't do that anymore.
You can listen to the whole show.
Well, you can, but if you go to PaddedRoomPodcast.com, it takes you right to the Podbean page.
Right.
So, or if you just want to go to
I'm just
Podbean.
saying a lot of people are not aware because when I tell them, oh, you can listen to the whole show, they're like, oh, I thought you just do the live feed.
No, we got a whole
show.
Dude, we do like a whole thing going on. Oh, now the parole officer shows up.
Oh, hi, parole
officer.
You should be in bed. What are you doing?
She brought a Four Loko today. It's the black one. It's actually not bad, but
yeah, it's pretty good.
If you want to be drunk and hallucinate, that's a good way to go. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week with Jugface. Make sure you don't, if you're going to try to watch that and hang with us, make sure you don't go to the YouPorn link. It's a whole other thing.
Oh.
Jugface and porno termina is it's a whole other thing.
I can imagine.
You don't want it. I'll tell you that right now.
Bye.
Bye, guys.